Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Championship Sunday here from the Curling Stadium, Martensville International. We began with 16 teams Friday morning. We've managed to qualify the 8 teams of the playoffs. This is the quarterfinal this morning. We're going to feature the matchup here between Dustin Kalthoff out of Saskatoon and Korey Dropkin out of Duluth, Minnesota. Both of these teams were on the ice last night trying to secure their spot in the playoffs. For the Dropkin team, they went into that game last night with a record of 2-1, but knowing that their draw to the button score wasn't very good, said essentially that was a must-win game for them last night, and they were able to pick up the win. Dustin Kalthoff, on the other hand, went in with a record of 3-0. He already knew he was in the playoffs, but by winning that game last night, which he did on last rock in an extra end, drawing to a corner of the button, he has the last rock in this opening end of play, having come in at 4-0. Had a chance to do a few games for this Dropkin team over the course of the year, and the one thing I know is that the order that we have them listed is never the order that they're playing in. This is Mark Fenner, the lead, makes the hit, stays right there. For the Kalthoff team, playing shorthanded this weekend and with an alternate at that. Matt Ring, their normal lead, not available this weekend. Logan Eady is subbing in. This is Logan throwing the first 3 stones. Make the hit, roll just a bit into the 12-foot. Throwing the second stones for the Dropkin team, this is Andrew Stapera. The call was to hit and stay right there. We'll get a slight roll into the 8-foot. Nobody too interested in rolling behind that guard yet. The position of this stone, if you were to roll behind right now, you'd be behind the tee line. Can't afford to roll out, though. It would give Dropkin the chance to play the draw. Well, there's the first slight miscue, a little rollout. Now Dropkin the opportunity to use that center guard that they threw up with the first one. For those who joined right at the start of the game or maybe haven't been with us all weekend, maybe not aware of one of the unique features that they do here in Martensville, and I've seen a couple of Bonspiels do it, rather than have first and second practice, both teams are out there at the same time throwing alternating shots, so both teams practice at the same time. There's no big gap. And how that matters on a shot like that is both teams should have had fairly recent draws. A lot of times the team that throws first practice then sits for 15 minutes away, or, well, not 15, but 5 to 10 anyway, waiting for the other team to throw their rocks and measure the draw to the button. That one slides to the back 8 and stays just about fully open. Maybe a sliver under the guard. Plenty of room for Josh Height here to make the hit and try to roll to the outside. Early call was they needed curl on this rock. He's going to make contact, but the shooter will roll out the back and all the way out of play. So another chance to hook one around that guard. Third stones now, and this is Thomas Howell. Still looks like he's got lots of room coming by the guard. Really making the big move now. Will actually tuck in behind, and if anything, maybe come out just a sliver on the other side. So still lots of movement here. Early Sunday morning. It's been moving big late all weekend long. Josh Height looking for the run. That run back wants to get both of these reds. Hits the guard and just by the stone in the rings. Thomas being asked to replace the guard, maybe just a little bit higher. Doesn't want to leave an easy double peel. On that line, he could be right beside the yellows. Not bad. That's pretty good. Probably still got to play the run back, but even if you make it, you know there's going to be guards left out there for Dropkin to work with. Josh Height with the big weight once again. The stop sign up on the sweep call. It's going to be a little bit off the other side this time. Simply peels the guard out, and he will roll the shooter out of play as well. Korey will probably look to replace the guard one more time. If this was his last shot, he might tuck part way around, try to sit two. I did have a chance to watch a bit of the practice myself, and it's always interesting to note when you get into a situation like this in the playoffs where Hammer was predetermined because of the seeding. Sometimes you will see teams play some different shots in practice. In the practice here, still much of the play was that draw to the button. So both teams should have a pretty good idea of the weight, and that may be a factor for Dustin Kalthoff with his last one. He may have to go out a little wide and try to catch the edge of the forefoot. That's a pretty good spot with the guard. You got to make a choice here. If you're playing the run back, it's a straight run back. You can't double peel. Your shooter will stay right there. You could run the yellow in. Not even going to think about it. He's going to play the red again. And why I say you might run the yellow in is, here's the thing. You run the yellow in and you don't make it. Let's say you just peel the guard out. Korey can't really come around from either side that well because everything's in a line. He can't take both draw paths away. He probably has to come down to the face of his own. He might be able to tap it. If you ever stick it, you still got a chance for two. Playing this, even if you make it, Korey's coming around again and you're going to get forced. Oh, that's a little unfortunate. He ran it back, stuffed it, and he does get it off the top of the 4 foot for now, but it does stay at the corner of the 8. And now Korey will have a chance to come around. Yes, he's coming around yellow stones, but because that one hung around for a biter, it makes a run back probably too risky to play with your last one. If you get that red one out on that shot, Korey Dropkin makes this, and he makes it too good to beat with a draw. You could at least try the run back for the blank. That's not going to be available now. Final stone of the first end for Korey Dropkin without last rock, sitting one, a chance to come around and put some pressure on Dustin Kalthoff here in this opening end of play. They wait a little bit for the line. Now are they going to be able to get it to the 4 foot? They'll get a bite of the top 4. Josh Height's first thought is hit the stone at the edge of the 8 and try to roll in because you're drawing against 2. The draw does seem like the more natural shot. And I think with that broom, that's what they're playing. Draw to the edge of the 4. This team has played a number of games shorthanded this year. Had a variety of players with varying commitments that it's just meant they've had to play shorthanded a lot. And one of the factors that helps them do this, Dustin Kalthoff himself, a very accomplished mixed doubles player, right back to the very iteration of that particular discipline. And he's very adept at jumping up, sweeping his own rocks. So they've only got 3 players, but he's going to have 2 brushers here. May not need the brushers here. This rock still skating. Needs a piece of the 4 foot. The line's going to be good, but is this one going to stop in time? It slides through the 4. It slides through the 8, and it's going to be a steal of 2 for Korey Dropkin to start things off here in this quarterfinal matchup. He's got the 2-0 lead. Dustin Kalthoff will retain last rock into the second. Second end just underway here. The Dropkin team looking for the short guard, and they wanted it on the center line. Just a little heavy, slides too far and off the center. Dustin Kalthoff will ask for the corner guard now from Logan Eady. Certainly for the Kalthoff team, not the start they were looking for. Probably a little bit frustrating. You've managed to get yourself through the round robin portion at 4-0, and by virtue of that, having the last rock advantage here in the quarterfinal, and you've essentially lost that early advantage in the first end. I do believe the call in the first stone was for the center guard, but that stone in the 12 foot, not really one you want to be guarding. They're going to try to come around it now instead. Boy, still big movement here Sunday morning on these rocks from the hog line in. Nice to see. Of course, I happen to know that these stones in Martensville were brand new this year. Probably conditioned before this event, holding the edge nicely. The early call on the sweep there was that they needed it to curl. Got the curl they were looking for and just hangs on to the back 12. Almost swept that through trying to get it to bury. If it was dead buried, it would have been out of the rings. Enough available for Andrew Stapera to try to dig it out of there. They do have to be a bit careful coming by the guard. This is still just the 5th stone of the end. Boy, nice throw, well brushed. Got to get the hit and roll over into the open enough that if Kalthoff makes the draw, they won't have backing on it. Looks like the early line on this attempt is better now. Really curling. They're going to have to work to get this by the guard. And it's just going to rub. Had great weight as well. Stapera will look to make the hit on that stone, roll towards the middle, and then it gets to the point where 4 red rocks in the rings might be too many to ignore to try to use that corner. Makes the hit, rolls the shooter across past the 2 reds near the center line and all the way to the 8, biting 12 on the other side. And Dustin will have to start addressing those red stones in the rings. You definitely get 2 here. I think if you hit it just right, you might be able to get 3 and keep your shooter. Josh Height looking for this almost straight back. Catches the second one. Catches the third. Boy, almost got all 4 of them. That's a great shot. Korey Dropkin appreciated it. You saw him signal it was a good shot. Smile on his face. Just the way the 2 reds on the tee line were lined up, you knew if he was straight back, it would be close to touching all 3. You look at the one on the corner of the button, it just misses the stone at the back. He almost got all 4 of them. That gets them out of a little bit of trouble, and maybe they get a chance to use that corner guard now. Korey will have to hit the yellow at the top of the 12-foot, but he's not going to be in the rings very far off that. Yeah, I agree. You can't get shot. It's still not necessarily a bad call. They're never going to guard the one at the back 12. Thinking about playing the hit and roll off the back one to bury it, just so you can force Dropkin into a tougher shot. Either the chase or the run back is going to be long. I still don't mind that. You might not be shot, but as long as you're in the rings, what does Dropkin do? It's always a little tricky when you've only got 3 players to try to remember where we are. Josh has already thrown one, but this is essentially just the third's first stone. You've still got 4 to come. They're even looking at playing the double on the reds, which would keep the blank alive. You have to hit this just a little bit on the center line side, catch the one at the back. With that broom, it looks like they're throwing some weight at this. You don't really have to throw this one hard. You throw it a little bit quieter and try to stay right on the center line yourself, and then probably a nose hit doesn't roll in. This is going to roll farther with this kind of weight if he makes the double. Been on the brush all the way down. This is going to over curl, I think. Oh, just touches it. That's a great shot. Makes the double, does stay right there, and a spot where tough for Korey Dropkin to get the roll onto the rings. He's got to make a big roll, which gets him off the center line. Even then, he's probably no more than just biting, and the come around in the corner guard's an option. Or you could just try to play this through for the blank if you're Dustin Kalthoff. Makes the hit a little bit of a roll. Don't know that he made the rings. It's close. They're thinking about playing the hit and roll behind the guard rather than the straight draw, which is, again, keeps the blank alive. You can see that little bit of white from the overhead camera view, but keep in mind the overhead camera is positioned over the pinhole, not directly over top of the rock. That might be biting. Josh Height with the hit, the roll all the way across, and with that little spin back, he might have poked a piece out into the open. It was dead buried for a moment. Still, it's a tough chase. That's what Korey's going to play, though. I thought he might look at the run back as well. It's about 6 feet between him. He'd have to hit it to the board side to make sure he gets it out. Still a great shot by Josh Height, but just a little unfortunate at the end. That big spin back, it was dead buried. Even with the spin, Korey can only see, looks like maybe about a quarter from the hacks. We know there's big finish here. If he throws the right weight, he can come by the guard fairly tight. He probably still hit half, but you ever rub the guard, and we're probably looking at a tie game. Well, we saw them dig one out early in this end. And they're going to dig another one out here. That's an outstanding shot by Korey Dropkin. Well managed down the ice as well. They swept the inside until they were sure it was by, and then switched to the outside to get that last bit of curl. Holds his shooter on the button. No choice now for Dustin Kalthoff. He'll have to try to roll to the open side and just play this through for the blank. If you were to try to hit and roll behind the corner now, if you had made it dead perfect, you'd be behind the tee line. Korey would draw down in front of it, and you'd be forced. Looking for the roll just to the other side of center. He'll get it. Korey Dropkin will look for the big roll, even if he's just hanging on to the edge of the 12-foot. Might be able to get the force that way. To roll that flat, he might have to throw some weight at this. Even if he just rolls edge to edge with the guard, so many of these top players, and this goes back, it's even a couple of generations back, when they've got to throw the shot for the blank, they like to throw the outside in turn. Doesn't matter which side of the sheet, they'll throw the outside in turn. If you get edge to edge with the guard, that turn won't be available for Dustin Kalthoff. You'll force him to throw the inside out. You get it dead in behind, and you might force him to draw for one, even if it's just hanging on to the back of the 12-foot. And if you ever happen to roll out, well, it was probably going to be a blank anyway, so there's no reason not to be aggressive with the roll here. Going to have to hold the line here to get any kind of a roll. I don't think they're going to. It's going to be right on the nose. So Dustin will have the opportunity to hit and roll out, try to retain last rock into the third end of play. Final stone here, the second end. Big weight, Logan Eade on the brush right away. Able to hold the line, makes the hit, does roll the shooter out of play. We've got a blank here in the second. You're watching quarterfinal action here from the Curling Stadium, Martensville International. Dustin Kalthoff trails 2-0, but he will have last rock in the third. Quarterfinal action here on Sunday morning, and if you've been a fan of Curling Stadium all year, you already know. For those finding it for the first time, all of the games all weekend long from all events available on the Curling Stadium with commentary on selected features such as this one this morning with Korey Dropkin, Dustin Kalthoff. In a tight matchup early, it was a steal of 2 in the first for Korey Dropkin. He's got the lead. Dustin Kalthoff with last rock. A lot of the teams that were in action this weekend will be back on the ice next weekend in Swift Current. And of course, the whole reason these events were put together, these are two events that were new. They're specially put on this year. I don't know that we're going to see them as annual events, but taking advantage of the fact that the World Men's starts in, well, less than 3 weeks now in Moose Jaw. And so some of these international teams looking at getting into that event were coming over to get acclimated to the time zones and get a few practice games in, a couple of events before that. Works out well for the teams. Certainly works out well for us. We get a chance to watch some more exciting curling. The come-around attempt on the corner guard just rubbed, stays fully in the open. Looking for the roll towards the middle, but it hits and stays right there. That's not a bad result. It blocks the corner guard for now. Logan Eady looking for the hit and roll towards that stone at the top of the 8-foot. He's thin enough, he might even move it, which he does. Won't get it out, but does get it out into the open. And holds on for a bite of the 12-foot, which means Korey Dropkin pretty much has to play this stone. It would be pretty aggressive at this point to ignore a stone like that. Mentioned, of course, some of these teams using this event as a prep event for tune-up for the World Men's. The Dropkin team, of course, one of those teams. They'll be representing the United States at the upcoming World Men's Curling Championship. Not so much a time zone issue for them, though. Out of Minnesota, this is up until the daylight savings time a week ago. I think we were on the same time zone. Interesting. It just occurred to me now. I think they're the game they played, their final preliminary round game last night, they're essentially the must-win for them was against Sheboom Lee. That's one of the Korean teams, but I don't believe that's the team that's going to the Worlds. Got too many screens open. Try to check all this stuff out. Yes, it's not. Thomas Howell now looking for the roll back towards the center line. Might be able to get to the top of the button buried here from this position. Wow. Actually rolled a little deeper than I thought, so probably leaves the double on the two reds. That's still a great shot. Even if you make the double, you got to leave your shooter in the open, and there'd be a hit and roll behind cover. That's what Dustin's looking at. Is there anything else we can play? Could you get to the shot stone quietly and just roll in front of the other one without trying to kill it? Josh even wondering about just the straight freeze. That's tough. If you're not shot rock here, I think Korey Dropkin might throw a guard. No players' mics out there, but there is one mic on the ice, so we can pick up a little bit of sound. And I think I heard it's on sheet 3. So, I mean, we're as close as we can get with the mics here. If we could just tell the players on the sheet next door to stop calling the sweep for a second, we could hear this discussion. But I think they've settled on the double. Throw some big weight at this. He'll hit the one actually that's right behind the broom first, come across, kick the other one out the side. Now the shooter's going to stay just fully open. Dropkin will have a shot to roll underneath. Makes the hit, catches the second one. They were hoping it would spin up, but that second one was just a little bit higher. It stays right there. They always knew that they were going to be leaving this chance for Thomas Howell to hit and roll underneath. He's got to be a little bit careful. You don't want to over-roll the guard. You might queue up a chance for Josh has one left. He might throw up a chance for Josh to play the hit and rolling behind the corner guard if you over-roll this even by a quarter of a stone. Gets the hit, rolls about half underneath. Still room for Josh to get at it. Now you might want to roll well into the 8-foot and just try to play this through for the blank. Blank in the odd end is not a bad result for Dustin Kalthoff. Keep that last rock into the even end. Try to get even in 4. Switching Logan over to the other side, looking for some curl here. He's going to make contact, but it's thin. Will he get the red out? Shooter's going to roll out for sure, and does get the red out the back. But that leaves a chance now for Korey Dropkin on the first of Skipstones to try to come right around that guard. Same issue, though, even as the hit and roll. He cannot afford to overcurl, and we've seen that plenty this weekend. You come too tight by the guard, and it'll poke out a little bit on the other side. That would give Dustin the chance to maybe roll behind his corner. A deuce is not out of the question yet. I think ideally here, you just bite the top of the button and dead behind the guard. If anything, a sliver open on the broom side. This is going to be tight coming by the guard. They do have to be a little bit careful about coming out into the open on the other side. Well, especially if it slides too far. And it will, just behind the tee line and probably a third exposed. Dustin could play this however he wants. He could play the freeze or the hit and roll. They've looked at both. The other issue is if you're playing the freeze, you could play it from either turn, but this is the one they've seen all end long. Korey Dropkin just a little heavy on his first attempt, and that opens the door for Dustin Kalthoff to perhaps try to get a skip's deuce here. You lock this right on the face. Korey Dropkin may have no other choice than to try to follow it down again and just shrink the scoring area. A good freeze here, and I think Dustin's always going to have some kind of a shot for 2, albeit it might be very difficult. Got to get this to the face, though. Both brushers on it all the way down, and he's going to come up just a little bit short. It's not the end of the world where it is. Korey can't really do anything about that stone. He's looking at playing the in-turn come around. You do have to be really careful with this. There's all kinds of ways you could leave a double for 2 here. You hang this out in the open, you leave a double for 2. If you hook it under the yellow just wrong, there's enough available in that yellow stone to run it into the reds, and you'd hate to line them up so that both reds would go. If you could ever get to the face of your own red and freeze the inside corner of it, you might be locked to steal at least one. Big shot here for Korey Dropkin. He's already leading 2-0 Stola Deuce in the first. Chance to set up another steal here in the third and open up a really large lead. Brushes have been on this most of the way down. Now they're backing away a bit. He's got to get by the yellow, though. Boy, that's a good shot. And I think he's left it in the spot where it's not. The lineup is just going to dead jam. You can't really play the yellow, red, red. He's got them lined up perfectly. I don't know that Dustin's got a shot to score. I think they're looking at yellow onto red just to hold him to a steal of 1. Going to throw this hard, and you're just hoping that, you dead stuff the yellow onto the red, and you're hoping that the red will, when it makes contact with the second red, will slide over just a little bit to the side. The angle run in. Yeah, I just don't think the reds are lined up well enough to play the angle run in either. Desperate times here. Dustin Kalthoff, he's going to lose his shooter for sure. If he dead stuffs the first yellow, boy, it looks to me like the second red just dead jams on the back one, but it wouldn't have to spin very far. Didn't spin very far, though. It's a steal of 1. Korey Dropkin playing thief here this morning in the quarterfinals. Has a 3-0 lead right now over Dustin Kalthoff as we go into the fourth after the break. Well, with a 3-point lead here as we begin play in the fourth, Korey Dropkin calls the first stone into the top of the 4-foot. Mark Fenner complies. Now the corner guard attempt. Logan Eady. They bring that in. It looks like they're trying to get a halfway guard, so I don't imagine they're trying to throw 2 guards on the same side. I don't know if they've decided that it's time for 2 guards yet. Decisions for the Dropkin team a little bit easier now with a 3-point lead. You're just going to pile rocks into the middle at the start of the end. These are all about, you're not trying to steal with these rocks. You're just trying to put rocks in a position where Dustin Kalthoff eventually has to deal with them. And while he's doing that, you're going to try to clean up the corner. Dustin is going to play for the second corner guard on the same side. I'm surprised they tried as hard to pull that last one in deeper. If you're going to play the two of the same side, you'd like to get a little bit of separation. Boy, nice line coming by now. Is this going to stop short of the rings? And no, it's not. It is pretty well buried, though. You can maybe see a sliver from the outside. I don't think they're going to play that on the fifth stone of the end. So now you play the center guard, protect the two in the rings. Again, these are all rocks that Dustin Kalthoff's going to have to decide how he's going to move them and when. We saw, I think it was Josh Height threw it a triple earlier in the game. You might see Logan Eady and Logan playing lead this weekend. Typically, though, skips his own team and is quite adept at the big weight. So if they close the gap too much, this guard's certainly tighter than they would have liked it. Could definitely get two of them. I'm not sure he can't get all three. A nose hit would be close to getting all three. Just looking to roll off the center line, so mostly worried about the top two. I think if you're hitting it that far enough off center to roll, I don't think it's catching the third one. You got to be right on the nose, I think, for that. He's going to be close to the nose. Gets one, gets two, just by the stone at the top of the forefoot. Rolls the shooter a little bit off the forefoot. The edge, anyway. A double available off the one that was just thrown onto the one that's just biting. A lot of separation between these rocks, though. The angle's good, but there's some distance between them. Makes the hit, comes across, but he's going to be a little onto the top edge of that rock and just pushes it another inch or so into the 12-foot. Dropkin sits one in the 4-foot, but no protection for it. Dustin looking at playing the hit and roll. Doesn't even have to do this yet. His first thought was to play the hit and roll with bigger weight, and that's just to try to get the flatter roll and maybe stay in front of the tee line. They're going to play it quieter, try to control the roll. Probably the safer way to play it. I mean, if you get the roll and you're behind the tee line and Korey tries to freeze in front of you, well, you've got him drawing around corner guards for the rest of the end. That's a pretty comfortable spot for the Kalthoff team. Boy, you desperately need to hold the shooter, though. If you don't hold the shooter, he's going to try to run the guard and get both of them. Oh, he's going to look at the pick. Can't see very much of it. Have to make sure you make some noise here. Even if you just peel the guard out, it's not bad. Boy, made that. Couldn't see very much of that. Made it look easy. Still, the guard's still there. And Dustin looking for the second guard, and this is maybe because of just how easy that last one looked. That guard that's there is a little bit long to work as a guard by itself. So much late movement here in Martensville. You get around that guard into the rings anywhere, and there's probably a chase available. So you use that guard to guard the tight guard, which you're later hoping to use to guard shot rock. These are so tough, and even if you make it, there's no guarantee that you ever get to use it. We're down to third's last stone here. Korey Dropkin may ignore these two guards now and try to draw edge of the forefoot on the other side. Well, he left him enough of it. He could maybe make the chase and roll into the rings. Thomas Howell with a nice dig on his first one, looking for another one on his second, and this time could roll into the rings and take away any opportunity Dustin Kalthoff might have to use that corner. They have just made, that's got to be about 5 or 6 of those in this game, and making them look easy. For the Kalthoff team, probably the best they can look for now is the blank. Just try to hit and stay right there and exchange hits for a chance to blank this fourth end. Well, they are going for the roll. Yeah, I'm not sure that if he'd have got behind the guard that he still would have been in the rings. Stays wide open in the 8-foot. Korey Dropkin will have to roll back to the center line a bit. If he stays right there, there's enough room to roll behind. Korey Dropkin with the first of skip stones here in the fourth, leading by 3, just looking to hit and roll to the open. He's fine with a blank here. Boy, does not want to roll underneath. This is definitely overcurled what he had in mind. Well, there's a slight opportunity now for Dustin Kalthoff. You get a corner freeze on that. Because of where the guard is, he's not going to be able to blast it out. Josh is thinking if they want to stay at the tee line or above it, it would keep Korey from playing the chase. But if you leave any kind of separation at all and he's got a chance to blast it out, he will. It's all about the angle here. Got to go for weight, got to go for line. He's got to hold it on the inside corner. If this overcurls, he might not be shot rock. Well, stopped in time to be shot, but there's probably enough room for Korey to chisel it out. He didn't get down to the red one, and he's overcurled it enough that you could play that same chase they've played all game and chip it by the red. You know, you take that rock, the same weight for Dustin Kalthoff, move it over 6 inches to the center line side, and I'm not sure that Korey has a shot here. This still has to be made. It's not a gimme. No matter how easy they've made them look so far this game. They've had to switch to the curl side earlier than usual. This has got a ton more room by the guard. Make contact with the yellow, does get it by the red, and rolls to the back of the 8-foot. Dropkin sits 2, and now Dustin Kalthoff will have to try to take his single here. Dustin Kalthoff had a sliver of an opportunity in his first one to perhaps set up a deuce, just over curls, and the penalty for that is you're going to have to give up last rock for a single point here. Early call was that the weight was a little bit up, but this is curling. He doesn't have a long ways to roll. They'll hold the line. He gets it right on the nose. Dustin Kalthoff on the board does pick up the single point here in the 4th, but that leaves Korey Dropkin with a 3-1 lead, and he will have last rock for the first time in this game when we come back for the 5th. Well, as we begin play here in the 5th end, Dustin Kalthoff trailing by score of 3-1, and now without last rock throws the long center guard first, which I think means they're planning to throw 2 centers here in the 5th end. This could be fun to watch. Korey Dropkin asked for the first one around to the top of the 4-foot. Mark Fenner makes a great draw. Well, I would have thought they were playing the guard here, but this comes right down to the face. It's not a bad call, except that center guard by itself isn't really guarding much. Mark Fenner looking to come down to the face of that Yellowstone, maybe get just to the inside of it, set up an angle to get the yellow out past the red. At least at a few inches short, but he's got a good angle on that. Now calling for the second guard. This is a somewhat new strategy too, but I've seen a few teams employ it where you throw the high guard first. You know the other team's going to come around. You freeze the face of it. They're going to come in again, and now you throw the second guard. And essentially, you're at the same place you would be after 5 rocks anyway, except that instead of red sitting shot and second, you've got second in the middle of the two of them. And now the peels can start. just gets the long one. You only got 3 players. You got to remember when it's your turn to throw. It is Josh Height into the hacks now. They'll just look to replace the guard for now. These are the scenarios where the game of cat and mouse becomes very interesting, because Dustin will throw a couple more guards anyway, knowing that Korey's going to try to peel everything. But at some point in time, he's going to have to make a play into the rings. He's going to try to decide when does he want to make that move, and what's it going to be. Boy, if you get too tight on this, all 3 yellows could be gone here after this. Drive that one that was just thrown across the face of the one that's tighter. Korey just looking at peeling the tighter one. That's not bad either. But if slightly across the face, it comes back onto the red, which goes back onto the yellow. I don't think he's looking at the across the face. I think he's looking at the broomside double on just the 2 guards. The angles in the house are pretty good for Korey Dropkin right now. He certainly doesn't need to move all 3 of them. But he did. Now, is he going to get that top one all the way out? No, it's going to hang on for a bite of the 12. However, everything's gone off the center line except for the one red stone, full 8-foot. This is not a steal situation anymore for Dustin Kalthoff. The best he can hope for out of this is likely a force. Talking about coming around to the back of the 4, you know that Dropkin will play the short run back. So really hasn't given up on the steal here yet. You're playing the come around. You know that Dropkin's going to play the short run back. You even expect that he's probably going to make it. That's why they want this just hanging on the back of the 4-foot. But if he stuffs it on the run back, then you got a rock you can freeze to. Well, this is going to come up short, so they're now looking to freeze to the stone at the top of the 8-foot. That's not bad. The angle might be there for the 2 yellows. I don't know if the top one leaves, though. He's got it, if anything, queued up a little bit to the inside corner of that. So they're just going to play the chase on the one in the corner. It's been one of their favorite shots this game. They're so good at it. You can actually roll in and sit 2 off this. The one thing that combination in the middle does for Korey Dropkin, Dustin Kalthoff can't draw around it again because the yellow-red are lined up to come straight back. Anything that's buried on it is easy to remove. Doesn't have a lot of weight on this. Just enough to get the yellow out, but he's not going to roll very far. Josh is ready to call the shot for Dustin because he's already thrown 2 this end, but he has to throw 3. could hit the yellow, kill the red behind it, roll over and sit on the corner of the other red stone to sit 2, and you probably get the force that way. You do have to hold it for a few stones yet. Could play the exact same freeze again, and then that middle yellow is never leaving. This is an aggressive call, but I like it. Like, what does Korey Dropkin do if you do this? Probably has to play some kind of double tap and try to stagger the angles a bit, which is not something he wants to see in the middle. Critical to lock this right on the face, though. If anything, I guess you maybe get away with a sliver to the inside because the risk of the jam on that one on the corner. Sweeping for some curl now. This is really close. Needs to come up just a hair more. It's going to stay a sliver high. That, I don't know. The top one goes for sure with a nose hit or even slightly to the center line side. I think both yellows go. The 2 reds are too flat. I think it looks like the yellow goes underneath. They could have gotten away with that much to the inside of the stone because then the top yellow is probably going into the red on the side, but now both yellows fly. They'll lose the red at the top of the 8-foot, but they're fine with that. It's got to be close to a nose hit. Dustin's going to have this stone to come around, although he's flirting with giving up 2 or 3 if he does that. Gets 1, gets 2. Oh, it doesn't quite get under. But enough that he does sit 2 for now. One more look at it. Those 2 reds are awfully close to dead straight across. They were thinking it would go underneath. I was thinking it would go underneath, and it just touches it. Korey Dropkin able to get over there and get a few brush strokes in to make sure that he's sitting 2. And as I said, it's going to leave that stone at the top of the 12-foot for Kalthoff to try to come around. Now, he can't afford to give up 2 or 3 here, so for this particular rock, he might even want to be back 4, back 8. You want to force Korey Dropkin to draw here. If he comes right down to it, then you can try to set up a rock to steal with the next one. But if you're top of the house and he plays the short run back, you could be looking at giving up 3, and that's probably the game. They've been on this all the way down for weight. He's got plenty of room. They switched now to the other side, try to get some curl. Just did not have the weight he needed. And they had Broom, really, to bury that in the back 4. So when you come up short, it doesn't have enough room to curl. It's still mostly open. All this discussion is about how much weight do they want to play and how far over do they want to roll. Kalthoff probably scoreboard committed that he's going to have to try that draw again. Line was good if he'd have made the back 4. So needs just a little bit more weight on his last one. I don't think, Korey can't quite see all of the yellow. I don't think he can stay where he'd block the draw path. And I'm not sure that he wants to. Then Dustin would just come around the other side. Boy, this is really starting to curl. Make the hit, and he will roll just to the corner of the forefoot. Same draw path is there. Needs 3 feet more weight. Josh wondering about the hit and roll underneath. The problem with the hit and roll underneath is that it won't be a very long run back if you make it. Now, granted, the run back would only be for 2 because the shooter would be out of the rings. This has the potential to be a run back for 3 or even a chase for 4. Yeah, I don't think he's ever coming off the red one, Josh. I think he's playing it straight back. Korey Dropkin's such a great hitter, too. So but I agree with his first thought. You got to be full back 4, even just half back 4, hanging on to the edge of the back 4, just to make extra separation on the run back attempt. The more room there is between them, the less room there is for error. Had perfect line on his last one if he gets to the depth that he was looking for. Didn't make enough of adjustment on the weight, I don't think. He's going to get to the tee line, but it's still a piece in the open. You could chase that for 4. I wouldn't be surprised if Korey decides to play the run back. He's so good at those. You make any contact with the yellow at all, you're getting at least 2. Looks like he's leaning towards the chase. They have made a lot of these shots already in this game, and this particular one could be for the game. If he makes it, hangs his shooter for 4, you may see handshakes here. Final stone of the 5th end for Korey Dropkin. First time he's had last rock in the game and looking to capitalize with a shot for 4. Played a number of these chases, have to manage it down. As soon as they're by, you'll see them switch. He's got a piece of the yellow. Oh, not really alert there for Thomas Howell. Just enough to get it back. And he gets a spin back on his own. I think that's 4. They'll have to look around the outside. Dustin Kalthoff really hoping he's got at least one of them beat, but I don't think he does. It's 4, and that's handshakes. Korey Dropkin, outstanding final shot. They made so many of those chases, so good at them all game long. Picks up 4 points here in the 5th end, and that will give him the 7-1 win here in this quarterfinal action, and he'll get a little bit of a break before he is back on the ice in the semifinals. Semifinals scheduled for 12:30 local time, so we've got a bit of a break. Still 2 other games going on, 1 other final. You can find all the action on the Curling Stadium Martensville. We will have, I believe there's commentary on the remaining games for the day, the 2 semifinals as well as the final. Will be commentary on all 3 of those games. Look forward to seeing you back here. Myself, Shawn, Joyce, my production crew for this game. It was Matthew, I haven't pronounced your last name before. Matthew Duizer. I hope I got that right. Was the production. And we'll see you back here in about an hour and a half's time for semifinal action. It's the Curling Stadium Martensville International.